And here we go. Okay, so we're starting a little bit of a new pasuk today, yeah? We're talking about Moine Misper Lekechavim, right? We just finished up that Hashem is the healer of the hearts. And now we say Moine Misper Lekechavim Lechum Shem Yisikra, that he counts the numbers of the stars, and to all of them names he assigns. Before I want to share some interesting stories from this Gemara, I just want to share that this pasuk, we'll get into it a little bit more soon, this type of concept, but it's a beautiful concept that I want you to take home right away. A couple of years ago, one of my friends called me. It was during COVID, and he was a little struggling because his father wasn't doing very well monetarily, struggling with his parnasa, and he was like, it's like God forgot about my dad to take care of him. And Hashem put in my heart that morning, I remember reading this pasuk, and I was like, oh, if he counts every single star, and he gives names to all of them, then he isn't forgetting about you, right? If he knows every last little galaxy and twinkle, twinkle little star up in the sky, and he gives them all names, and when you read that, you focus on that, knowledge and acknowledgement of every last little thing up in space, then he probably also knows his little yingala down here on earth as well. But we'll get into that concept more in depth soon, but I just wanted to put it out there, a little teaser, I guess. But there's some interesting stories in Sanhedrin Lametes. Once upon a time, a heretic, meaning someone who was a non-believer, went over to Rabbi Gamliel and says, your God is a thief. Yeah, you ever thought about that? Hashem's a thief. And Rabbi Gamliel goes, why? So he says, because God cast a deep sleep on Adam, and while he slept, God took out one of his ribs, right? And he created Chava. So he stole Adam's rib. He put him to sleep and he took his rib out from him. He's a stealer, a ganef, a thief. So the heretic's daughter said to Rabbi Gamliel, don't worry, I'll answer him. He says, leave him alone. And she tells his father, thieves came last night. It was terrible news. We got robbed. And they took all of our silver talents. He took a silver bar from me. And the heretic goes, really? What? Did you call the police? No. They took the silver bar, but they left a gold bar. Okay, that's great. Good news. So she answers the heretic, see? Hashem may have taken the rib of Adam, and he didn't know, but what did he leave him with? He left him with something much better than his just rib. A partner, someone to go through life with. Beautiful story. Then, and it goes on a little bit about it. She asks, okay, why didn't he just ask Adam for permission, right? Why did he have to take it from him when he was sleeping? So the Gemara explains, the girl explained, that if Adam knew that it was coming from his belly, right, that it may have been like a little like this person, Hashem took it out of me, and it may have been repulsive to Adam, that Hashem took out something and formed something from him, and Hashem didn't want that to happen. Another encounter with a heretic. The heretic tells Rabbi Gamliel, I know what your God is doing, and I know where he's sitting. And Rabbi Gamliel became faint, and he said, what is this sighing? So Rabbi Gamliel said to him, I have one son in one of the cities by the sea, and I have a yearning to see him. I want you to show him to me. So the heretic said, do I know where he is? So Rabbi Gamliel goes, oh, you know what's up there in Shemayim and all in the galaxies, but you don't know here on earth something? How is that possible? And then another story, and this is what brings us here, it's about the stars. A heretic, a non-believer, once said to Gamliel that it says, your God, he counts the number of the stars. What's exceptional about this? I know about this. So I'm also able to count the stars. So Rabbi Gamliel brought him some quinces. I'm not sure what quinces are, but I guess pieces of something. And he mixed them all up in a sieve, and he says, count them. And he goes, I can't count them. They're all moving, right? Imagine you put a bunch of rocks in a bowl and you start spinning them around. I can't count them. They're moving. So he goes on. The heavens are also moving. The stars are exploding and whatnot, and they're also moving. How could you count them? And a similar story says, I know the stars too, right? I know how to count the stars. Why is it so cool that you've got to count the stars? How many teeth do you have? So he asked that exact question to the guy and goes, I don't know. He goes, something in your mouth you don't know, but you know how many stars there are? And he puts them to rest. I thought there's some interesting stories. But the truth is, and I wish I had, actually I do have it, but I might have been charged and I didn't prepare. But there really is a really cool Gemara, I'm not sure where, but there's been a whole debate throughout the centuries, and maybe we'll show it a little later, but I'm not going to pull it up right now, about the stars. Or maybe I will. Should we do it? About counting the stars. Throughout history, there has been many debates among astrologers. How many stars are there? Is there 1,000, 1,000,000, a gabillion? And I want to show you a really cool video that talks about a Gemara, that talks about how many stars and how it matches up with current knowledge. Divine fingerprints, come on. There it is. Okay, you ready? 3 minutes. It's pretty cool.
Sky glimmers.
Oh, did it just die? No. We got 3%.
With stars. But how many stars are there in the universe? Without the aid of telescopes, only 6,000 stars are visible to the naked eye. Ptolemy, in his Almagest, writes that the sky contains 1,022 stars. This was the standard number, accepted by the Greeks and adopted by Arab scholars. This number was later updated by the astronomer Tycho Brahe in 1598, who reduced the number to 965 stars. This was later changed by Johannes Hevelius in 1687, who wrote in his Catalogus Stellarum Vixarum that the sky contained 1,564 stars. All of these scholars are obviously wrong. There are trillions and trillions of stars in the night sky. This fact was utterly unknown to mankind until the advent of the modern telescope. Yet remarkably, this reality is recorded explicitly by our sages. The Talmud states that God laid out the order and makeup of the cosmos using the metaphor of an army. My daughter, I created 12 constellations in the firmament, and for every constellation, I created 30 armies, and for every army, I created 30 legions, and for each legion, I created 30 infantry leaders, and for every infantry leader, I created 30 military leaders, and for every military leader, I created 30 leaders of forts, and on every leader of a fort, I have hung 3,650,000,000 stars. Multiply 12 times 30 times 30 times 30 times 30 times 30 times 3,650,000,000, and you get just around 10 to the power of 18 stars. That's 1,000,000 trillion, or 1 quintillion stars. So how many stars are there, actually? Astonishingly, modern astronomers put the estimated number of stars at just around 10 to the 18th power. Imagine, for almost all of recorded history, people believed that there were few more than 1,000 stars in the sky. Yet our sages understood the sheer enormity of the cosmos. Such a radical departure by our sages from the greatest astronomers of the time points to a higher level of knowledge.
A higher level of knowledge. The whole point of the video is that throughout history, the Talmud was written, how many years ago? In what century? Anyone know? I'm not sure offhand. 2,000 years ago. Way before the modern telescope. And many scholars back in the day were saying, there's 1,000 stars, 950 stars, yet the Tanoim wrote in the Gemara that there is 10 to the 18th, 1 quintillion stars. How in the world, and that's if you Google it, you come up to around that number. How in the world, 2,000 years ago, did they have the audacity to write something like that? Because if it was ever proven wrong, then okay, everything's, what are you talking about? Yet, they wrote it, it came to be true, it hints to some sort of divine knowledge or someone up there imparting us with some special, one-of-a-kind knowledge out there that no one else has connection with.